Mm, All right. And we are live. So, hello, everyone. A warm welcome from Let Us Talk It team and Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. My name is Phil, and this is your Let Us Talk It free webinar. So, this is an initiative to give back to the community to impact the world through knowledge sharing, and we make it for free. So, we invite professionals, guest speakers, coach, and anyone who's willing to share their perspective, things that they have gone through, their best practices, and all sorts, and many things that they wanted to share to the world, and joining us in this initiative in giving back to the community and impacting the world through knowledge. So, behind this initiative is Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. So, they're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, and yeah, they just do mostly IT works and also staff augmentation, and they support startups. They have offices as well in Spain and India. And yeah, just a thought of giving back to the community. They started this initiative as purely IT topics, but that actually limits the thought of impacting the world through free knowledge sharing. So we decided to make it more diverse and invited professionals in every niche to share their best practices and their expertise. And today, we're excited to introduce to you two topics and two new guest speakers that are here with us. To join us in this initiative. And for the first uh, topic that we have today is about managing stress to avoid burnout and promote optimal performance. And this experimental workshop will equip participants with practical skills to proactively manage stress, recover from overwhelm, and sustain well being and performance. And to talk about this topic, our guest speaker has decades of experience in leadership development, project and technology management, teaching, coaching, and consulting in organizations ranging from global corporations to community groups. And he studied at and practiced yoga, tai chi, and meditative techniques and teachings for decades. And also, our guest is the author of The Peaceful Warrior's Path and the Zen Approach to Project Management. And also the Ask George Coaching Bot and other books and articles on applying mindful self awareness in daily life. And I'm excited to introduce to you George Pitagorsky for our first topic today. Hello, George. Thank you
Hello.
for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Uh,
That's great. And I hope you're doing great. And we're excited to hear about your topic. So you can put
oh,
up your screen.
okay, let's make that work. Okay, can we see that?
Yes, we're seeing that.
Very good.
Okay.
All right. Our topic is managing stress to avoid burnout and promote optimal performance. And the key here is to recognize that Uh, there are many techniques for dealing with the stress of being in the world of work, and amongst them, we will find that mindfulness establishes a base that can be used by anyone, anytime, anywhere in the context of this effort to make ourselves more and more effective in the world. So um, I like to start just about any event, any meeting, any time that we're spending to focus on something with a mindfulness moment. Sometimes I call it a breather. Take a breath. So let's begin by taking a moment to come together and focus on this workshop. Uh, let go of anything that might be distracting, thoughts about very important things, and let's be here. Let's be now. Doing this before any activity gets you grounded and ready for action. So simply take note of your posture, feel your body, feel the weight against the chair, the air against your skin. Adjust yourself so that you're comfortably erect. Take a breath, exhale, let go of any tension, and engage. So now that we're ready, there are issues. And while we don't perhaps have time to go through a true exercise in establishing your issues and working with that, I invite you to write down your situation. What creates stress in your life? And I'm assuming that there is some because stress exists in the world, and most of you wouldn't be here unless you had some, given the topic. So we have this opportunity to focus and to identify 1 to 3 situations that cause you to be stressed, reflect on how often it occurs, what are its causes and what conditions exist that make it happen? How does it make you feel? What can you do about it? What do you do about it now? And what would you like to be able to do? I invite you to write these down because it gives you the focus to come back to this information that we're going to be sharing today and use it day to day, moment to moment, because I've always been of the belief that a training or a sharing of information is only useful if it can be taken back to the day to day realm of work or play and used in an effective way. So the challenges that we're facing in the realm of work in particular are that more and more people are reporting that their workloads are increasing, that they're balancing competing priorities. High expectations are getting higher and higher. There's a need to support others, particularly if you're in a management position or in a mentoring position. Boundaries are getting blurred. Clear lines of work and personal life are becoming difficult to maintain and harder to disconnect and recharge when workload increases. We have systemic pressures, leadership challenges, threats associated with job loss or reduction in pay. AI has become a stress point in many environments, but also a great challenge and a great possibility for future engagement. And then we've got change and uncertainty. Everything is changing all the time. And it seems that things are changing more quickly than they have been in the past. So, how is that affecting you? We reflect on that, we can now see that we can anchor what we're going to be talking about in the context of your real world situation. So we have the keys to managing stress. The basic message is that from a personal point of view, we have mindfulness, the ability to be present, mindfully aware of what's going on in and around you, and objectively observing it all. From that base, we have the ability to accept things as they are. Sometimes that sounds like a very passive thing, but it's really the only choice that you have other than fighting against reality. So when we say accept things as they are, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to keep them as they are. We might have some ability to make change, and if we do, we can manage that. But acceptance is a key to allowing oneself to not eliminate stress, but to manage it more effectively. And then we have letting go, being able to trust your skill sets, trust your personal capabilities, and let go into what we might call flow, the ability to stop thinking about what we're doing in a way that gets in the way and let the performance happen. Perhaps some of you have experienced this sensation of being in flow. Time starts to melt away. Everything is just happening as if you weren't doing it, but yet it's all occurring. Work is taking place, play is taking place. Sometimes we find this ability to let go in sports activities, but we also can find it in our work. And then project management, the ability to take an objective, practical view of what is possible, what we want to achieve, make sure that those two fit together, because wanting to achieve the impossible creates more stress. And then we can manage our situation from the point of view of establishing a useful and effective approach to doing what we do. So that sets a baseline. Then we have rapid reset tools. Moment to moment, we might be facing a difficult situation. And what we want to be able to do is apply some kind of technique that is going to put us back in our calm center. And everybody has a calm center. So we'll take a look at some simple moment to moment techniques that we can apply anytime, anywhere, without expending a lot of time and effort doing it. And then establish a personal action plan. Be ready to make a commitment to yourself, to allow yourself to make use of the tools that we'll be sharing. So stress, burnout is the ultimate result of overstressing. So we have this notion that chronic stress is caused by demands that are consistently exceeding resources, insufficient recovery time, people who are under challenged, sometimes boredom, and the need to do work that is not particularly fulfilling is a cause of chronic stress. And then worry and obsessive thinking that take over when we are in a situation that might be uncomfortable. The end result of this is elevated cortisol, stress hormone, establishes itself. It disrupts our sleep, it weakens our immunity, impairs our decision making. We tend to be overly emotional, either to withdraw or to act in the opposite way of becoming more aggressive than necessary. Illness takes place. We find that people who become overstressed not only lose time because they are ill, but also come to work and underperform because they are no longer in a mode of optimal performance. So take note of where you are with respect to this. And again, we're not saying that you're going to ever eliminate stress. Scientists say that if you eliminate stress, you're dead. So what we're doing here is giving ourselves the ability to manage our stress situation in a way that gives us greater degree of wellness. We want to be healthy. We want to be effective at the same time. So what do we do? I said already, observe stress without judgment. Create space for a conscious response. The goal is to be responsive as opposed to reactive. As we become more mindful of what's going on internally and externally, we become self-aware. And self-awareness is a baseline for emotional regulation and emotional intelligence. We can recognize the triggers, and then, given those early warning signs, we can do something to cut the movement from stress trigger to overstressing. We change our mindset, reframe challenges, and in effect, get become at ease with unease, become okay with being out of sorts, so that we're not any longer reacting, but we're accepting and now moving into a different way of looking at our situation. Patient persistence. These techniques are very, very useful, very, very powerful, but the ability to change your mindset and to cultivate a greater and greater degrees of mindfulness takes time and, and effort. So there's a patience that's needed and a persistence. In effect, we're talking about changing habits. Changing anybody that's changed a habit or confronted a habit realizes that it doesn't take place immediately. It takes a significant amount of patient persistence. And through that patient persistence, the mindset change, the building of self-awareness and the mindfulness, we can achieve a dynamic balance in our lives, continuously adjusting to maintain equilibrium in the face of constant change. At the same time, we use our project management capabilities or self-management capabilities to manage expectations in an effective way. So that when we're faced with demands that are in excess of our resources or our capabilities, we can push back effectively, manage our own expectations, and manage the expectations of the people who we work for and with. Mindfulness, we practice basically that initial exercise, that initial stepping back is really a mindfulness meditation. The power of presence is given to us by cultivating the ability to sit and stand comfortably, feel the sensations of your body, bring your attention to the movement and sensations of your breath. Observe with patient curiosity, and at the same time be fully engaged in what you're doing. If you cultivate a formal practice, and perhaps many of you have already established that kind of practice, 5 to 30 minutes or more in a quiet, comfortable space, you do this every day or as much as you can, and you'll find that your way of meeting the world changes. And then we incorporate moment to moment practices. These practices, like the breather, take a second, a minute, or less. You can do them at a meeting. You can do them anywhere that you might find yourself where the stress starts to build, or you find yourself becoming distracted in a meeting that you might find a bit boring, but that you have to stay focused on. So you can, again, reframe the stress as a way of activating energy. You're transforming the stress into positive, useful energy. And then you can take micro pauses, just what we did at the beginning of this presentation. Take a moment, check your posture, feel the sensations of your body. Take 3 conscious breaths. Your eyes are open. You can be anywhere, anytime. You might do this whenever your phone rings or you get a ping for a message or an email. Use that as a signal to just come to presence, come to your calm center. And then you can cultivate techniques like box breathing, inhaling for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, holding for four, exhaling for four, and so forth. And you just focus on your breath. You do this 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 rounds of this, and you'll find yourself calm, centered, and ready for anything. You can ground yourself by simply becoming aware of your senses, the situation around you, and then you can become aware of your posture and the movement. All of these are really mindfulness exercises. They're bringing you back to the present. They're allowing you to step back while at the same time being fully engaged. Step back, observe objectively, and respond. That's the goal in establishing a means for managing stress and avoiding burnout in your life. You apply the practice. We talked about the challenges you identified earlier, asking yourself, what feelings are you experiencing? What techniques? And so forth. And then develop an action plan. If you take that, anything away from this, take the ability to sit back, step back, and be reflective of what's happening in the moment, and then engaging. Replace reactivity with responsiveness. So work your plan. Recognize that burnout is preventable and establish a way of working that is going to maximize and optimize your capacity to perform. I'll make this available through Phil, and you'll have the ability to make use of these kinds of resources. And also, there are many, many resources for on YouTube, for example, that will take you through breathing exercises and mindfulness exercises and so forth. Uh, if you haven't already started it, cultivate this kind of mindful self-awareness. So I think we have a bit of time for for some cue for a couple of questions. So Phil, is there anything in the chat that we might reflect on?
All right. Thank you so much, George. That was really interesting and wonderful topic that you have decided to share. And yeah, there are no questions just yet on our online platforms, but we have um, one comment. I usually keep myself busy so I don't have time to stress. So that's from Sunny. Yeah, thank
That's
you.
a, that sounds like a good practice, as long as you're not fooling yourself and cultivating a way of avoiding the stress. But yeah, being in flow, being in busy and in an effective way is wonderful.
Yes, because the moment you get like stagnant, like you're just alone, but not doing anything, that's the very time you think about what's happening. So
It's
so I
also a very, I'm sorry, it's also a very good opportunity when you are alone and unbusy
mhm,
to see what it is that might be lurking underneath, and use that time of being alone and present and as a rest time. I
yes.
mean, for myself, I've done a lot of mindfulness meditation retreats and other kinds of retreats and so forth. And much of it is getting alone, being quiet, having absolutely nothing to do but being present. It's a vacation.
Mhm, true. Yeah, that's actually perfect definition of like a vacation because some they have to travel very far and then there are many ways to just get yourself relaxed. So
Yeah.
I agree to that. And some of this techniques actually may like we may have been doing as a normal like reaction in our day to day, like the pause and breathe, something like that. So, but like it's somehow innate. It's just that we're not totally informed that it's very useful to relax ourselves. Like it's nature's way.
Yes.
And yeah, I just like to share as well. The one that you have mentioned about like your expectations, because as I mentioned earlier, I started a new like a woodworking, so we have to get people for additional manpower, but there are cases really that it does not fit into your expectation in terms of skills and all sorts, so you get stressed if you're expecting too much to the additional people that you are working with, so managing your expectation really helps. So
Yes.
that's yeah, definitely. Yeah, Maria, would you like to share any thoughts, or if you have any questions as well, any additionals you have?
No, I love that George is talking about breathing so much because that's one of the key tools for really great presentations, pitching, public speaking, and managing adrenaline because there's going to be times when the adrenaline comes up in your body and you have two choices. You can either allow that adrenaline to work against you, or you can use that energy and channel it so that you can use it for your speaking and give it to your audience. So I love, George, that you're talking about breathing.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly the message, and you can apply it not only to public speaking, but to anything that you might be doing. Yeah, yeah. And the nice thing about breathing is that it's always there. It's it's something that you don't have to fabricate.
It's always
Yeah.
available.
Always available. You can always tune into your breath, and then you can
Mm.
channel it and do all sorts of wonderful things with it. Just don't stop.
Yeah.
That would be the
Yeah.
worst thing
Keep
to
you
do.
ticking
To stop
over.
breathing.
Right.
All right. So we're inviting our guests as well, or participants. If you have any questions, just put it down on chat. I can read it aloud for you if you are too shy to be on mic, or you can open your mic or raise your hand. We can acknowledge any questions you have or any inputs, opinions that you have. Feel free to share it. So we are welcoming any thoughts that you have. If none, then we'll be moving to the second topic. If anything comes up to mind, chat is always open. You can just put it in there, and then we can actually acknowledge it later. All right. So checking again, anything on live, and we don't have any so far. All right. So I think that's a wonderful, very straightforward and clear topic, George. Again, thank you so much for that one.
Good.
And then, yeah, we'll be moving to the second topic that we have today for this webinar. And so, as for everyone's watching and for the participants, you've already got the glimpse of our second guest for today's webinar. And the second topic would be about public speaking skills will make or break your business. So, this is um, there's actually a why I love Warren Buffett, or why public speaking skills are the number one must haves for business success today. And so a short description is saying that you are your calling card when it comes to your business. So now more than ever, your credibility and success in the world depends on how you look, sound, and feel both online and in person. So for our guest speakers, for the second guest speaker, she is an award-winning leader in executive public speaking and presentation skills coaching and speech and pitch coaching. And as a professional performer and speaker, she began coaching C level executives, senior leadership, and professional speakers 15 years ago. And in just the last 4 years, has grown her coaching business to a global level. And senior leaders work with Maria when they want to up their game and show up as a powerful, impactful, inspiring speakers in their business. organization, and for the people around them. And also, she has coached for all global giants, including Google, Facebook, Amazon, Diageo, Virgin Media, Booking.com, Salesforce, Stripe, Pfizer, Novartis, Stryker, Accenture, Grant Thornton, KPMG, Mitsubishi, Volkswagen, and yeah, the list just continues. All right. So I'll introduce to you our second guest, who will be Maria Tees, or did I pronounce your
It's Teche.
Teche,
Teche.
and who is a public speaking coach, keynote speaker, and performer, and also writer. So we can take over, Maria.
Thanks, Phil. Wow, quite an introduction. It's it's funny. I look back and I think, gosh, the list of companies. George, you probably find this too. After all of a sudden you look back and you think, gosh, you've worked with a lot of people. There's a lot of time that you clock up. And I think one of the great things about public speaking skills and presentation skills is that it never stops. Like the learning process never stops. And George is probably the same with his topic. There's always a new thing to learn and a new place to take your skill sets to. Yeah, I love Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the best proponents of public speaking skills. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie was a guy that started back in the 50s, I think, public speaking classes. And Warren Buffett was terrified of speaking in front of people. And he realized that it was really holding him back in his career. So he signed up with Dale Carnegie and took a course in public speaking. And to this day, he said it is the most important skill set he ever learned and probably the most important class that he ever took. And I love him for that because in business today, there are really two sets of skills when it comes to articulating who you are, what you do, whether it's presentations, pitches to clients, high stakes clients, whether you've been asked to speak at an event, a conference. You are your calling card. And I know that Phil said this in the introduction. And more people are being asked to come out from behind their data or their technology and to talk about what it is they do and to help people connect with that in a way that is more than just data and information. And there are two main sets of skills that help us to look, sound, and feel like experts with more clarity, credibility, and with more confidence. And those two sets of skills are what you say and how you say it. So those two sets of skills together are an unbeatable combination when it comes to giving presentations, maybe speaking on a panel discussion, maybe doing a webinar like this here, or giving a pitch to a high stakes client, or maybe it's even just speaking up in a meeting in the boardroom. So those two sets of skills together are a powerhouse. And within those two sets of skills, there's sort of the holy trinity of great presenting and great speaking, and the big three, and that is your body, your voice, and your words. So I just want to talk about those three sets of skills and maybe give you guys, maybe you could take away from today, maybe one skill that you could do differently today or tomorrow. And that's really my goal for you guys today, is just to have maybe one thing, one takeaway from today that you can do differently when it comes to using your body, your voice, and your words to communicate your ideas, to communicate your data, your information. By the way, the more boring and dry people think their information is, the better. I love that because you can make anything sound interesting. Anything. You can make the phone book sound interesting. For those of you who remember what a phone book was, you can make anything sound interesting. Words are words, but it's how you structure your words, how you bring them to life, how you use your body to communicate, and of course, how you use your voice to communicate as well. So just to follow on from what George was talking about, let's talk about your physical presence first. This is your body, how you use your body to communicate. And when you are virtual like this, it is almost twice as important to be clear, to have clarity, to have credibility, and have confidence in how you are using your body to communicate. Now, by the way, any of the skills and techniques I'm talking about today, you can use them in person at your meetings, or you can use them virtually as well. Okay, so let's talk about your body. So whether you're standing or sitting, this is not your voice, by the way. This is not your voice. Your voice is your whole body. From the bottoms of your feet and how you stand, all the way up through your body, how you use your arms, your hands to communicate, how you use movement in your body, how you use where you carry tension, why that's probably one of your worst enemies, and how to release that tension, eye contact, your face, where you carry tension, and also how you are breathing, because breath is the fuel for everything. When it comes to great communicating, great speaking, great presenting, breath is the fuel for everything. It is fuel for grounding your energy. When the nerves kick in, when the adrenaline kicks in, or stress, it helps you to ground your energy. Instead of coming up here, which is a place of anxiety and panic, to ground your energy down into a place of power. So your breathing helps you to ground your energy. It helps you to think more clearly. It helps to support the sound of your voice. Because has anybody here ever felt like nerves have gotten the better of them? Anybody? You can raise your virtual hand even if you want to. Yeah. And has anyone here ever had a shaky voice because the nerves and the adrenaline were, and your voice shakes, or your hands shake?
It
So
even
when you
cracked.
breathe, it just, sorry?
It even cracked.
Yeah. Yeah, so breathing helps to support the sound of your voice. So, and it's not about never getting nervous or having your voice shake, but it's to help support the sound of your voice. So when you support it with breath, there's less of a chance of your voice shaking. And also, breathing helps you to also think clearly, to ground your energy, clear vocal delivery, and clear choices in how you are choosing to speak. Because your voice is a kaleidoscope of color and texture, but we'll get to that in a second. But let's just stay with the body for a second. So your physical presence, how you physically use your body, is hugely important. You've got your voice, the sounds that you are making, which is your vocal delivery. And of course, it starts in the body first, though. Your voice starts here. Get this right, and you're a much better chance that you're going to be able to have a great vocal delivery as well. Okay, so your body, that's the first of the holy trinity of great communication and speaking. So how you are physically affects how you sound. How you are physically affects how you look, how you come across to people when you're speaking. It also affects how you feel. So how you are in your body affects everything. It all starts in the body first. Okay, so that's the body. That's the first one. Now let's talk about the voice as an instrument. Now, as I said, your voice is your body. Your body is your voice. It is one mechanism. They are not two different things. So your voice is how so your body is how the eyes, you keep the eyes interested. Because how many of you guys have ever seen somebody, been in a meeting online, and this is pretty much what happens the whole meeting. So it's really exciting to be here today. We had a great celebration this morning of a new initiative that is doing really well. We're all very excited about it. How many of you have ever been in a meeting when you have that? It puts you to sleep. It's exhausting to watch. It's actually exhausting to do as well. So energizing this space is hugely important. And And look, there's a lot of you who probably work exclusively on virtual platforms. Maybe some of you, it's 50-50, in person and virtual. But remember, your body is your voice. If you do not use your body, if you do not energize your space, whether it's in person or in virtual, then if there's nobody home here, where else is there going to be nobody home? Your audience. There's going to be nobody home down there if there's nobody home here. If your body is absolutely dead, your voice will be dead, your words will be dead, and your audience will be dead as well. Okay. So that's the physicality. And yeah, so the voice. When you are making sound, there are three things happening. The first thing is your breath, and that's why the breath is the key for everything. The first thing when it comes to making sound is your breath. Respiration. The second thing that happens is what we call phonation, which is creating vibrations by activating these muscles here, the vocal muscles here. So you have breath, which is the potential for sound. Then when you activate the muscles here, you create sound. That's pure vibration. Then you activate the articulators here, which articulate sound to create speech. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Okay, so there's three things happening when it comes to your vocal delivery. Your breath, creating vibrations, and then manipulating those vibrations to create speech. And there's one of your worst enemies. One of your worst enemies as a speaker, it starts with an M, and see if anyone can put it in the chat. And it's what happens when your delivery is flat, boring, lifeless, and never goes anywhere. What do you think one of your words? Yes, thank you, Phil. Monotony. It is there. It's just lurking on the edges all the time. It can happen in your physicality. It can happen in your vocal delivery, and it can also happen in your words. Some of your best weapons against monotony are your vocal tools when it comes to keeping your ears interested, because you got to keep the eyes interested. You have to keep the ears interested as well. So this is how you're using your vocal range, because the opposite of monotony is color. So you have a huge vocal range in your voice. It is an orchestra of sound and color. And all the vocal tools are like colors on a painter's palette. And you get to decide how you are going to paint your words for us with the vocal colors and tools. It's articulation, the clarity with which we speak. Your vocal range coming all the way to the top and everything in the middle and all the way down to the bottom and everything in the middle and all the way back to the top. That's a lot of color. So your vocal range, another color on this painter's palette. The pace at which you speak, rhythm in your speech, using pauses, because we cannot take in a huge amount of information at once. It never stops, and you kind of want to get through to the end of your presentation, so you keep talking. You want to get through to the end of it, so you talk really fast. You don't take any pauses because you don't want to take up anyone's time. Oh, it's exhausting. You've got to pause. The power of pause is very powerful because it helps to break up your information for us. It helps to chunk your information into digestible pieces, because our ears we can't run to catch up with you. Your audience actually won't run to catch up with you. What do you think will happen? If you are flying through at 100 miles an hour, what do you think is going to happen to your audience? Anyone?
There will be no interest.
They're not going to listen. They're going to stop listening.
Yes.
Why? Because audiences are lazy and selfish. They don't want to have to do any work. So if they have to run to keep up with you, or if they're having trouble actually hearing what you are saying, they're just going to stop listening. Your audience is always looking for a reason not to listen to you. It's not a good or a bad thing. That's just the way human beings are. They don't want to have to do any work to make you sound interesting, to slow you down, to understand what you're actually saying. They don't want to have to do the work. That's your job to do the work. Audiences, they want to sit back and just enjoy the ride. And if they have to start working or running, they're not going to. They're just going to stop listening. Okay. So your vocal delivery, and this is each one of the vocal tools: volume, articulation, clarity, your vocal range, the pace, the rhythm, using pauses. All of these are your colors as an artist, because you are a vocal artist. So you get to decide, how are you going to use those colors? Because a great painting is lots of different colors, hues, textures, viscosities. So the vocal tools are your paints, and you get to decide how much of each color you're going to splash in there and when you're going to use that color. So that gives you a lot of control over your vocal delivery and how you create this beautiful painting for us to enjoy, this vocal painting of sound. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's the second one, your voice. And any one of those tools, pausing, using volume, changing up the volume, changing up your vocal range, being clear in your speech, clarity, any one of those tools, just any one of them will really help you to keep your audience with you. Because that's really what we want as an audience, is for you to keep us with you in this conversation, in this dialogue, which is a dialogue of energy between you and the audience. Okay, so that's the second one, your vocal tools. So now I'll just touch on the third pillar, so to speak, of the Holy Trinity, the great three, and that is your words, what you say. Your words, structure is the vessel that carries your data, information, and words. So structure is hugely important. But before we even get to structuring your words, there's the first stop that you always have to make on the way to creating a pitch, a presentation, a speech, anything like that, even a training that you might be doing. And the first stop is always know your audience. Step number one, you've got to know who you are talking to. What is going to be useful for them? What are they going to walk away with that is going to either make their life easier or to help them solve a problem? So you're knowing your audience. Who are these people? What keeps them awake at night? What would be useful for them to walk away with? Because a lot of the time, what happens when you're creating your words is people start with PowerPoint, and they open up PowerPoint and they got a blank slide. And what do? They start dumping information into the slides. Words, mostly. A lot of words. Words. Here's the thing to remember about slides. If you have words on a slide, text, if you put something on a slide, it means you want us to digest that, whatever it is. When you have really wordy slides, you're asking us to split our attention, because the slides, if you want us to read what's on a slide, then just send us the slide deck. Why are we even there? Why are you even there? If you're just going to put a load of words on a slide, paragraphs of text, then just send us the deck. Because we're not there to see your PowerPoint. We actually don't care. PowerPoint has become something that it was never meant to be. PowerPoint has become a report and people just reading off their slides. PowerPoint was never meant to be that. It was there to provide clarity for the audience through images. Maybe it's a graph, a chart, maybe it's statistics. It was never meant to be a report. So people now are using it to just read off of. There is no faster way to lose your audience than doing that. I'll tell you that right now. Because you are actually who we have come to hear. You. You are the secret sauce in all of this, not your slides. Your slides are not for you. They are not for you to read off of. They're not for you to remind you what to say. Your slides are only there to help the audience better connect with what you are saying. That's it. Your slides are for your audience. They are not for you. And they are the last thing that you do. The last thing, not the first thing. They are the last thing. What's the first thing? Know your audience. Who are you talking to? What's going to help them that day? What problem are you solving? What information do you need to give them to take the next step in something, or to understand, to give them an update on what's going on? Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two, you got to hook them in. What's the hook? And the hook does what it says on the tin. Today, you're going to walk away with at least one tool that you can do differently to become a better speaker. Okay, that might be of interest to you. It's a type of hook. It could be an image. Maybe it's a quote. But the hook, basically what the hook does is it gives you a preview of coming attractions. It just dangles a bit of bait there for you, for the audience. The hook is like, have you ever been to a really nice restaurant? And before the meal actually begins, you get what's called an amuse-bouche. It's like a little bite, like one bite, maybe two at the most. And it's crispy, crunchy, salty, juicy, creamy, whatever it is. And it gets you, the whole point of the amuse-bouche means to amuse the mouth. The whole point of it is to get you salivating, to want to eat the rest of the meal. It prepares your mouth to get excited. That's kind of like what the hook does. It gets people just wanting to maybe stay and listen a little more and give you their attention. And it just gives people a reason to listen. But more than anything, it gives them a reason to care. Okay. Then the next step, now you got your structure. And there are a lot of different structures you can use. But again, the structure is the vessel that carries the information, the data, and the words. That's the water. And that's what the structure is. It's the vessel that carries the water. A clear structure actually gives you a huge amount of freedom. Because when you have a very clear structure, beginning, middle, end, or beginning, introduction, hook, roadmap, key areas, conclusion. There's lots of different ways you can think of structure. But structure is really handy because it just means that once you know who you're talking to and you know what you want them to leave with, then all you do is plug the information in. It actually streamlines your process. The way I do it with my clients, it streamlines their process. They can create content faster and easier, and it makes it easier for them to remember, which also makes it easier for the audience to remember. Structure helps the audience to follow your story. Okay. Then and the last step is creating color, sticky. How are you going to make your information sticky? Are you going to use images? Are you going to use stories? Stories are a great way to illustrate points to illustrate a complex idea or concept. Stories are great. We all love hearing stories. So sprinkling little stories within there. Maybe it's just one story that you sprinkle in there. Maybe you start with the story. You can use images, videos, metaphors, analogies. There are so many different ways you can get little pops of color in there, graphs, charts, if we need to see the journey of information, maybe it's a graph or a chart you use. So you can use lots of things to get pops of color in there, but you must break up the data and the information. You have to break it up for us, because we cannot take one long diatribe of just loads of data and information just dumped on the audience. Because we'll stop listening. It's a form of monotony. So how are you going to break it up for us? How are you going to break up the information? Every now and then you got to push the button. I call it pushing the attention button. Every once in a while, you got to push the button. Change it up. Give us something different. And that happens, by the way, that's in your physicality, your vocal delivery, or in your content. And the slides are the last thing you do, because only then do you know whether or not you actually need slides, because you may not. I mean, it strikes fear into the heart of every person in a meeting when the deck just goes up and there's loads of words and words on the slide. I mean, it's just, your heart sinks, right? So now with those three areas, your body, your voice, and your words, your content and design, within those three areas, there are so many lovely tools and techniques that you can learn. So the physical techniques, maybe it's your breathing. Maybe like George was talking about, your breathing. Maybe it's how you're using your arms and hands. Maybe it's eye contact in your vocal delivery. Maybe you could start using pauses. Maybe your clarity is not where it should be because we can't understand you all the time. It could be any of those tools. And with your content and design, maybe it's structure. Maybe look at different structures you could use. Maybe it's actually sitting down and asking, who is my audience, before you start anything. Or maybe it's storytelling. Maybe it's putting a few stories in there. Maybe it's little pops of color, thinking about how you can think outside the box of how to keep things interesting for us. Okay, we're just coming up to the time now. But those are sort of like the holy trinity of great speaking, presenting, pitching, communicating. Your body, your voice, and your words. And within those three together, that's an unbeatable combination. Because how you look, how you sound, and how you feel are really where you start really cooking with gas. So upskilling in the tools you may already have as a speaker. There's always the next level to take these things to. So it's worth exploring your physical presence tools, your vocal presence tools, and how you are creating your content. And just thinking, how could I do things differently tomorrow? That's really where I come from as a coach. Okay. So that's pretty much it from me. If there are any questions, feel free, please put them in the chat or open your microphones.
It actually, I may have been using both of the topics for today's session because your topic made me reflect on how I'm talking when I'm doing the webinars, and I'm using George's topic to breathe to avoid getting anxious over. Did I do it properly earlier? Something like that. So yeah, that just made me reflect of what I have done so far. But yeah, well, thank you so much. It's a great topic, and yeah, the hook
I
definitely
think I
works.
might
So I'm taking, I'm
I think I
taking one
might
thing
never
with me.
use PowerPoints again.
So I guess George, the hook really did take place. So we will be taking one thing today to
And I'm
Very
to
just
work
going
good.
to
on.
put, Phil, I'm just going to put this in the chat. There's a free video that for you guys. It's a little free video that you can do, that you can watch, just about 3 public speaking techniques, just for how you can do things differently. So I'm just going to put that in the chat, and you guys can click on that. You can copy and paste the link if you want. And it's just a free video to just get just a bit of insight into what you might be able to do differently.
All right, that'd be perfect.
And I'll also put my website in there as well, because it's mariateche.com.
All
I'm going to
right.
put my website in there as well.
Okay, how about we go on promoting? So let's see. Yeah, we have one question on live. So what advice would you give to someone who feels guilty prioritizing their well-being? So um let's see. This is addressed to
Uh, I, I could take that. I mean, well-being
okay.
is kind of the subtitle of my latest book on becoming a peaceful warrior to cultivate well-being. Uh, Someone years and years ago, a teacher of mine named Hilda, said that guilt is a relatively useless emotion, and it tells you two things: either stop being guilty or stop doing what it is that makes you feel guilty. So the answer is that to take care of your own wellness is a starting point for being able to take care of everyone else. And if you're feeling guilty about taking care of yourself, you're really feeling guilty about putting yourself in a position to be of service to others. So, as Hilda would say, get over it. The idea of being in wellness, being as well as you can possibly be, is again the foundation for being a good public speaker or a good anything. Does that make sense?
Yes. Alrighty. All right. Thank you so much for taking care of that question, George. And let's see. So, anything that you are working on currently? Let's have you, George, and then let's have Maria after. Anything that you're currently like, if you're writing a book or a vlog or a blog,
Well,
anything upcoming you'd like to
yeah.
promote?
Upcoming is right now, I'm in the midst of actually taking my book called The Peaceful Warrior's Path: Optimal Wellness Through Self-Aware Living and turning it into a self-paced course. The book itself is basically a study guide to how to integrate techniques of mindfulness meditation, body awareness, physical capabilities, mindset change, and incorporate it into a personal path to increase your wellness, to optimize your ability to operate in the world. So what I'm working on is now to turn that into a course. But the book is available on Amazon, and I've used the book as a basis for technique, a system called Ask George. Somebody came to me and said, "We're going to make you an AI bot, an agent." So I worked with them, and they turned my writings, which include the Peaceful Warrior's Path, the Zen of Project Management, and a zillion articles, into a coaching bot, which is not doing very well in terms of getting people to use it, but was a very interesting technique thing for me to do because I learned a tremendous amount about AI. But in any event, if you're interested in any of my materials and so forth, I put my selfawareliving.com um, website into the chat, and you can access links to the book, to the Ask George, and any number of different videos and articles.
Alrighty, thank you, George. And how about you, Maria? Anything upcoming, or you are currently working as of the moment?
Uh, yeah, I'm actually so much of my time at the moment is doing a lot of speaking all over the world right now. So, but I am relaunching my How to Become a Public Speaking Rock Star course. That will be that will be launched in the new year. So the links that I put in the chat, the free training and my website, make sure you get on my mailing list because I'm very excited about this course. We're changing platforms and it's a great, again, it's a self-guided course that you can take and it's got all the techniques and skills that I talked about today, plus some extra ones as well. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, so go on the website. There's loads of stuff there. And you can also read my blogs and find me on LinkedIn. Just put Maria Teche on LinkedIn and I'll come up. If you go onto LinkedIn and put my name in and public speaking, you got me right there.
Exactly. All right. So there you go. All right. So we'll be doing a post after this webinar. So for those who have missed or may have missed this live session, we will post the links that were given by our guest speaker. So you'll be able to take advantage of those freebies, definitely, and such wonderful freebies that you will be able to take advantage from. All right. So, yeah, again, I will include the links there, so don't worry. And then we will post as well this uh, recorded session on our Facebook and YouTube channel. So you can just always go back to this session if you have missed it today. All right. So I guess that takes care of everything. So I would like to send the appreciation in behalf of the team, Cogent, and Let Us Talk It to our guest speakers, George and Maria, with the wonderful topics that you have brought today and the new learnings, definitely, and joining us in this initiative in impacting the world through free knowledge sharing. So anyone from any time zone would be able to learn from this topic, such wonderful topics. And we'll be inviting you in the new year, January, for another exciting session of Let Us Talk It Zipiners. So we will be inviting different set of guest speakers, and of course, if you have the time, definitely. I'm not sure for Maria, who's been doing guest speaking all over the world, but also as well for George. But feel free to join in if you have the time to interact with our guest speakers, and also there are always insights that connects one person to another. So it's always a good thing to connect knowledge and experiences, right? Okay,
Okay.
so we'll move to close today's session for Let Us Talk It. Again, thank you so much, yes, George and Maria, and thank you for those who have joined for the participants. And yeah, you can always put in your questions on the YouTube channel in the comment section, and then we can get in touch with our guest speaker still, and then we'll put their answers there if they'll be able to they'll have time to answer those questions. So there will be it will be never too late for anything. All right, so just come up with your questions, put it on
Certainly.
comments, and then we'll
Oh,
have our guest.
the other thing,
Yes.
Phil, I've just put into the chat as well. If anyone wants to contact me to have a conversation about anything that I talked about today, I've just put a link in the chat as well.
All right, we'll have it included, definitely. So okay, so definitely there'll be a lot of people interested, and again, I'll be reminding you, send a LinkedIn connection invite to our guest speakers. It's a great value, definitely having them in your network connection. Just by seeing their newsletters and posts will be additional learning. All right, so I encourage you to do that. And yes, again, we'll be moving to close the session. Thank you so much, everyone, and the webinar ends today.
Thank you.
Take care and see you
Thank
again
you.
in the next webinar. Goodbye
Bye-bye.
for now.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you so much, Maria.
You're welcome. Lovely to be here. Okay, have a great Christmas or holiday.
And you too. Same to you. Thank you so much. Have a great holidays. And yeah, take care as always. Maybe
Cheers.